It's gross and hot, and everything's gross and hot and weird.
What was the song that you started to sing that is by pop punk band Where Are You and I Hate You Now? Because it's stuck in my head, but just that
Oh,
line.
Blink 182.
Yeah,
it was I Missed You.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Fucking hate it. I fucking fuck you. We're done. I'm canceling the show right now.
Look, if you give me and or Vince an opportunity to make that reference, we will.
I hate pop punk so goddamn much. It was the music of the times when I was growing up, and that's why I didn't learn to like music until I was in like the senior year of high school.
I mean, okay, I get it, but also I love it, and I'm terrible.
All right, well, as long as we are agreed on that.
Maurice Mo has joined. What's up, Mo?
I'm the disembodied voice over here.
Yeah, I'm the one on camera this time.
So I was thinking about Ghostbusters a lot today, and I was thinking about how in the second one they're like digging a hole in the street.
Yes.
And they get stopped by, I think, like the power company dude or whatever.
Mm-hmm. The phone lines are over there.
Right. And they're doing their shtick, and then they turn to Egon to like get his input, and he's like,
"Yo!"
And I was thinking about that a lot today because in Egon's mind, I'm reading into this too much, but like in Egon's mind, he was like, "Oh, I have to be the overly masculine, kind of stock character in this moment. What would an overly masculine like construction worker say?" And the only thing that came to mind was
"Yo."
And then it's so relatable.
It is. Harold Ramis was a goddamn genius.
The number of times at work I'll have somebody like, "Hey, see that game?" And I'm like,
yo.
Like, yeah, he knows what's up.
This guy knows.
But I think that's why I love the first two Ghostbuster movies, because they have a bunch of little moments like that sprinkled throughout where you really get to know those characters.
They're just so very good. I still haven't seen Afterlife, but
it's whatever.
Yeah,
it's a movie.
Oh, I'll take that.
Yeah. I didn't hate watching it, but I'm also never gonna watch it again.
Yeah, fair.
And it made me sad.
Uh-oh.
So,
Well.
Anyway, we're not covering any of those things.
No,
I just need to get that off my chest.
That's okay. Are there any other last minute ideas you need to get off your chest before we start here in earnest?
So Brian Bukkake, is he only doing Marvel spoofs?
Dark Horse.
Oh, okay. I realized that we didn't get the top of this in the feed, but another work thought I had was that in the Knife Pricker universe, which we've developed way beyond
any rational point,
short film,
way beyond any point that makes any goddamn sense.
God, there's so much lore to the 6-minute film, but the like premier pornographer in Knife Pricker's universe is Brian Bukkake, who is basically the Stan Lee of this universe. Looks like him, talks like him. By the time Knife Pricker saw any of his films, he was directing. I think before that he was on like old Stag films. Like you could find it. There's still like some clips online of Brian Bukkake in his heyday.
How much What We Do in the Shadows have you seen?
First couple seasons.
Okay, so did you see the episode where Laszlo's very proud of his old pornography that he made?
No, but like that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Okay. There's an episode where Laszlo is very proud of all of his old pornography that he made, and it's all very boring and stupid, but he's very proud of it.
Damn it! So
he made a lot of it.
Emily Gray, who we worked with.
Oh yeah.
When that first came out, she was like, "This is even better than the movie." And I love the movie.
The movie's so fucking good. But honestly, it might be.
Today, again, another work thought. I was like, 3 years later, I'm like, she's right.
She's right.
God
damn you, Gray.
Those are all the work thoughts I had.
Okay.
I now turn my podcasting host hat over to you.
Okay, excellent. Jack, I'm fucking old.
Yeah.
I feel about 1,000 years old today. Hold for cat.
Holding for cat.
For those of you on Instagram,
God damn it, Bushy.
Bushy has just jumped up on the table.
So she really likes that crumpled up paper towel.
Oh yeah.
Um, she's been using it like a blankie.
No.
Yeah, you want to be there. I know you're a cat. I can't stop you from doing what you're going to do. So there you are.
Get your tail hair out of my city water.
There you go. You settled in? We're all in?
We're all good here.
All right, let's continue.
Okay. So
you're old.
So I'm old. I went to see Coheed and Cambria play last night.
You did?
I did. They played a stage AE. It was fucking amazing. And my God, I thought I was reserved at the show. I didn't dance a whole lot. I knew I was standing on muddy ground.
It was like an outdoor show.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
nice.
See, stage AE has this outdoor section to it, so that if they're not doing indoor shows, basically the back end of the indoor stage is the outdoor stage, and it's like a little mini amphitheater. It's a really good setup, but it also rained during
yeah, it did.
like from like the tail end of the opening act through part of the main support. It rained pretty good. So it was so like I'm trying to like keep my footing on the mud and everything, and now like today my back and my knees are just like fucked.
Were you soaked? Did you get soaked?
No, I had a poncho.
Okay,
I think actually, you know what? First time ever I've gone to a show. I'm waiting in line to get in the door, and a scalper has ponchos for sale. $5. I got a poncho. It was fine. I was taken care of, and it saved my merch.
Oh yeah, that would have sucked.
Yeah, I've never seen a scalper with his holdings that diversified before. It was kind of great.
Nice.
But I felt like that the pain that I'm feeling today has got me thinking, given the subject matter we're talking about here today, if I had to replace any part of my body with bionic parts, what would I do? So I'm curious, Jack. What do you think? What would you go for?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask what I should get for you. Like you were.
I'm curious about that too, but yeah, no. Let's do you first, so that I can sit here and paint for a minute longer.
Initially, I was trying to be, I don't know, a little bit more helpful, and I was like, oh, I will have water hands, and people can drink water from my fingers.
You mean like a little squirt gun?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because you said water hands, and immediately I thought you meant hands made of water. I was like, that's weird, and also like elemental and not bionic.
Right.
No, but if you got like a hydraulic system of some sort.
If you think like a fountain drink machine, but just water.
Yeah.
But then
you're like a little sody fountain.
I realized I would have to carry that water around with me. Like it's just not. Like
you would have to have storage for it, yeah, because otherwise, who knows what's coming out of there.
Right. So I switched it up and decided to go a little bit more chaotic, in which I am able to manipulate sonics.
Interesting.
So some for myself, like I could create white noise, brown noise in my head to chill the fuck out.
Okay.
I could, like there's certain pitches that have an effect on people, such as like sound that makes them go crazy, or like makes them all spooky, or just bands.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna go there.
Which, as far as I'm aware, is theoretical, but
it can't be real, right?
They have figured out how to make people puke from certain sounds.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that kind of tracks, is when cops use that like LRAD shit, it has some pretty nauseating effects.
Yeah. I'm not happy that I know that. Or that
it exists, I hate that that's why I know that.
Yeah, that's also why I know that.
Fuck.
But yeah, like sound manipulation. Basically, the Black Panther character Claw, but not from movies at all.
Sure. Like the original Ulysses Claw.
Right.
Yeah.
But
the not Smeagol Claw.
Right. Except for he's not very, very creative in the comics. He's just like, it's loud. I mean, you could do some other stuff. He's like, but loud.
So that Claw doesn't have a mixtape that's out there somewhere. No. Okay.
Jesus. Belinda says she wants telescoping arms because she's tiny and wants to be able to reach stuff on the top shelf.
That would have a number of applications that I'm sure she would find handy. Yeah. Just, I'm sure she'd have fun with that.
She would grab so many butts.
She would grab so many butts. You know she would too.
Yeah.
Belinda, our community pervert from our 50 Shades of Grey episode. God, God, I mean, my brain is so back-centric right now, but I was thinking earlier, it might actually make more sense to have a bionic core.
Okay.
Like, just completely get rid of, like, my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, not my stomach. I want to be able to eat still. But, like, the muscles around it, like, turn that into some kind of, like, perpetual motion machine so that it's constantly, like, keeping its balance and also keeping my metabolism going at a decent rate and, you know, doing stuff that makes me not hurt so damn much. So it's built, it's like, yeah, supporting everything around it.
Yeah, no, yeah, that makes sense and is definitely better than what I was going to pick for you, which is, again, kind of sound-based powers, but you're able to shatter glass and concrete with your laugh, kind of like amplifying that. Yeah. So, like, in a dangerous situation, you'd have to find some humor in it. Or
some nervous laughter.
Right.
Yeah, coping laughter.
Right. And then any other time we'd have to have, like, a special helmet. For you.
Oh God, I'm some kind of awkward Magneto.
Yeah. That's your name, Max. That's your.
It's just awkward Magneto.
No, it's awkward Magneto.
Awkward Magneto was never right. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh. Excuse me. Sorry. I literally thought I was gonna burp for a second there, and it just did not come.
Awkward Magneto.
Awkward Magneto strikes again. Oh. Well, with that out of the way, thank you everybody for joining us. Welcome to DeRazzled, the podcast where we take award-winning worst films and fix them, except during our second unit episodes. So welcome to DeRazzled's second unit, where we will be continuing our journey into development hell. For those of you who joined us for our first foray into the Amory Wars, thank you. I appreciate that. And I welcome you back now to our next journey into a movie that never fucking happened. The $6 Million Man. Jack, what do you know about the $6 Million Man?
I don't know who you are, who I am, so I can't answer that question.
I'm made. Get the extraction team in here. Well, stranger, let me tell you a thing or two about the $6 Million Man. So,
do you want me to introduce us?
Oh, fuck. God damn it. I'm going to get this right eventually.
No, it takes a minute.
All right. So I'm your host, Joe Nealis, and with me, as always, is also host Jack Culbertson.
Yo.
Jack, what do you know about the $6 Million Man?
Before we started working on this, I knew that he made Sweet, Sweet Love to a Bigfoot.
Yes, canonical.
And he had a really dope theme song that I think was used for a car commercial.
Probably. I think it was probably used for a lot of commercials.
Right. Sweet tracksuit. And that dads watched it when they were growing up.
It is definitely a dad show. 100%.
Like the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, it's definitely on that level. Yeah. Absolutely. I had very similar familiarity with it, mostly because of Venture Brothers and mostly because of older family members who would reference it, and just all around references to it throughout pop culture.
Oh, yeah.
Because even aside from the Venture Brothers, like all throughout the 90s and early 2000s, like bionics and the idea of like this super enhanced fella are just all over the place. I mean, even Family Guy fucking did one.
Also the sweet fucking action figure.
Oh, it was so a good action figure. I do remember that.
It was like G.I. Joe sized, like full G.I. Joe size.
Yeah.
It had a bionic eye. You could peel its skin back to reveal the robotic arm underneath.
That's fucking wild.
It was a bunch of cool shit.
I love it.
It was I think Kenner's first venture into action figure making.
God, if only Kenner had not like fucked up and gone under and everything.
How
like
did they fuck up?
There's
because they had Star Wars.
I know, yeah. I know that I have heard this story before. I'm pretty sure they talk a lot about that on like the Toys That Made Us on Netflix.
Okay.
So, oh, you haven't seen it?
No.
It's very good. You would love it. The Barbie episode in particular is very good, and so is the Hello Kitty.
Hello Kitty.
Yeah,
I don't know that story. I know a little bit about Barbie.
So some of the episodes get absolutely wild. The like wrestling, the WWE toys are that's a pretty good one too.
Anyway,
neither
different podcast.
Entirely different podcast. So we didn't really have a base knowledge of the show itself. I still have at this point not watched a single episode of the $6 Million Man. You did, however.
I did. I watched it wasn't a pilot so much as it was originally made as a TV made movie.
Okay.
That they recut for the show.
Yes.
So I watched that. That was bad. It was the first 20 to 30 minutes was awful because it was like 70s made for TV.
Oh, just
editing,
slow, bad editing, bad pacing, exposition dumps.
I've heard people bitch about how they used to show characters walking from one area to the other, and then they discovered they could just cut, and people would be like, "Oh, I know exactly where they went because cutting."
Yeah.
Then I watched this. I'm like, "Oh, they really did just show astronaut Steve Austin walk down this hall into the other room," and I'm looking at my watch like, God, why are we watching this shot?
This could have been a one part.
Yeah, it really could have been. But after once he got his abilities, it was pretty enjoyable.
Nice.
And then the second part, the Secret of Bigfoot.
Yes.
Or the second.
The second episode. Episodes. Yeah, the second episode you watched.
Do you know what the Secret of Bigfoot is?
What is the Secret of Bigfoot?
He's an alien.
That almost feels like too easy.
A cyborg alien.
Oh, better. Okay.
He's also Andre the Giant.
Even better.
Yeah.
It just gets better the more you reveal. I love it.
The episode starts with you thinking like, oh, he's gonna fight Bigfoot. There's some like science shit he's working on,
and then go on a date.
And then, oh god, I mean, I haven't watched The Return of Bigfoot, so they still have a chance. Then he meets this woman from another world, and there's like a council from another world, and they are the scientists who are sciencing our scientists.
Oh, so they're like the mice in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, like conducting the experiment that is our planet.
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
And they're like, Bigfoot is shoved into this plot because we needed somebody to abduct people to study, and a Bigfoot's really good at abducting people.
He's just taking people. Oh,
and
God.
He was a lesser life form on our planet, so we bionicked him. And I'm like, so you enslaved Bigfoot.
We're just gonna.
We're all gonna just breeze over that. Okay.
Yeah, we're just gonna whoosh past that super quickly.
Because he kind of growls like Chewbacca, so we're all happy about it.
I mean, I am pretty happy about that.
I'm actually probably gonna go watch this. So yes, I have watched enough of the show to kind of get the vibe.
Okay, so for those of you who have no familiarity with $6 Million Man outside of vague pop culture references, we're going to go into that a little bit here. First, I want to acknowledge some sources. Most of of the information that I've gotten here is from a book called "The Greatest Sci-Fi Movies Never Made." Is written by David Hughes, who I believe is a contributor to Ain't It Cool News, if I'm not mistaken. Hence the afterword in here by Harry Knowles, who, if I'm not mistaken, is a deeply problematic figure.
Yeah.
What did he do again? Did he assault somebody?
I think it was more sexual harassment, but I can't
remember okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
He had his own movie festival and used that
to sexually harass people. Yeah. Okay, so Harry Knowles is a problem, but David Hughes, as far as we know, is not. Maybe.
As far as
I hope not. If he is, let me know. I'll stop using this source.
I mean, as soon as that information came out, everybody on Ain't It Cool was like, "Peace."
Neat.
Anyway, I've read about half of it.
It is an interesting book. It's a little dated at this point, but it has a lot of good information in it. But I got a lot of information from that regarding this, and also from several interviews with producers and potential cast members and potential directors and such. So we'll jump on in here. So the original series of the $6 Million Man premiered on ABC in 1973. It's loosely based on the book Cyborg by Martin Caidin. Itself is sort of a modern take on Frankenstein. The book has only been out for a year whenever the show had premiered. The TV series follows NASA test pilot Steve Austin, played by one Lee Majors, who suffers severe injuries to his legs, arms, and left eye, and his hearing in a light atmo aircraft catastrophe. Government spends about $6 million repairing his injuries with bionic augmentations, but then puts him to work to repay the debt. I legitimately thought that was a fucking joke whenever they talked about that on the Venture Brothers.
Yeah.
And no, that's actually part of the plot, is that he has to repay the debt of his of his augmentations.
I don't think he's quite as angry about it as he is in the Venture Brothers.
I imagine
he's
run
not. Away, I guess.
Yeah.
He
doesn't
fine.
He doesn't fuck off into the woods to live with his Bigfoot boyfriend.
Right.
Let's see. So the episodes feature Austin carrying out a bunch of missions for the Office of Scientific Investigation, which is an acronym that the meaning of which shifts depending on what source I'm looking at, because I've seen Office of Scientific Intelligence, I've seen Office of Strategic Investigation, I've seen a whole bunch of shit. And just the fact that it is OSI makes me wonder, how the fuck did Venture Brothers get away with their OSI, the Office of I think it was the Office of Secret Intelligence.
I saw that on screen. I'm like, OSI, like,
because I don't think that, at least at that point, I don't think that Warner Brothers had the rights to those things.
Right.
Yes,
they do now.
Yeah, they do now. But that was much further down the road, as we'll get into.
Yeah, I can't remember who had rights to Cartoon Network and its properties at that time.
I mean, it was always Warner Brothers.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
They might have been okay with it then. But
it was originally the rights to $6 Million Man, though, and the source material, the book series that it was based on, were held by Universal.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, we'll get into all that. That's all going to come into play here. So Austin is supervised by OSI agent Oscar Goldman, played by Richard Anderson, and Dr. Rudy Wells, played by Martin Balsam in the pilot, and then later played by Alan Oppenheimer and Martin E. Brooks. The show ran for 103 episodes over 5 years and spawned a successful spin-off in The Bionic Woman. Follows the bionically enhanced pro tennis player Jamie Summers, played by Lindsay Wagner. The show's popularity caused a couple of made-for-TV movies to come about. Anderson and Majors stumbled upon the idea for the first TV movie during a run and bike ride in France. They happened to be out that way for something. Anderson, following a running Lee Majors on a bike, jokingly said, "Steve, what about one more mission?" And Majors replied, "No, Oscar." But then the natural, like, in character little banter they slipped into was like, "Hey, wait a minute, what if we did do that?" And they started kind of hashing out the ideas and trying to figure out, like, is this possible? And they actually landed on an idea that they wanted to pursue, and thus we end up having Return of the $6 Million Man and The Bionic Woman in 1987. Yeah, Anderson managed to convince Universal and got everybody back together, the whole original cast, if I'm not mistaken, to come back and do that. And that was then followed by 2 more. They ended up doing Bionic Showdown in 1989 and Bionic Ever After in 1994. Which
you said 94?
94.
That makes perfect sense.
Yes. So they convinced Lindsay Wagner to come back for that one because
they kidnapped her dog.
No, specifically, well, she was like, you have to do something like really interesting for me to come back. And that really interesting thing for her was, you have to let Steve and Jamie get married, because she felt like they owed the audience that.
Okay.
So they did. So they were married in 1994 in this movie.
Bionic Ever After.
Bionic Ever After. Yes. So there were... Hold on. Okay, I'm actually going to cut for a break there. So before we get into the actual attempts for them to make a feature-length adaptation of this, let's take a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back and we'll dive on into that information.
There's also a comic book. I forget who the publisher is, but Alex Ross, the artist, did a couple covers.
Alex Ross.
Kingdom Come.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Like, he's a big deal of an artist.
Yeah, photorealistic.
Yeah,
stuff. He's a big fan of that era.
That makes a lot of sense.
I think he's done a bunch of like Green Hornet covers, that kind of thing. The thing that we don't really see, that you kind of miss if you're just looking at the premise, it's kind of funky, like funk.
Sorry, we have a few comments from Mo here.
Right.
As we were talking about the $6 million man needing to pay back his debt. God bless capitalism.
Right.
Pay back $6 million for healthcare. And then he was also agreeing with us there. Adult Swim and whatnot was owned by Ted Turner and Warner Brothers. Okay. And he is only picked up on Bionic Woman. And then he was also commenting that Alex Ross did some Spider-Man.
Yes, he did. Who is his least favorite character to paint?
Really?
The lines.
Oh, yeah, that would get tedious.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. In the made-for-TV movie, Steve isn't even conscious to like make the decision.
It's just done to him, right? I feel like that is a running occurrence in all of these versions of it. Okay. There's not a single one of the film adaptations that have been attempted where they try to rewrite the story to him choosing this. Like, it is just thrust upon him, because I feel like that's like the entire thrust of like, oh no, you have to do these things for us to repay this. Like, doesn't work if he had that choice.
Yeah.
Or it would work a lot differently.
Right. And even when they're like, you have to be able to repay us, he still's like, nah, fuck you.
Yeah.
And he doesn't agree to do the first mission until he is told like, this guy was kidnapped and is going to die if you don't help. And it's a little dark. I don't know. They don't like spend a whole lot of time on it, but when he goes to rescue this dude, the dude's already dead. He was killed like a week or so ago.
Oh shit!
And the whole mission was set up to test Steve's bionics.
Oh,
yeah!
Wow!
The pilot was actually pretty good. The made-for-TV movie / pilot was pretty good.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to watch more of the first season, because when you jump to the Bigfoot episode, that's like 4 seasons in.
Sure.
So I'm sure that like that subplot's already been dealt with, and he's pretty comfortable working with OSI.
Yeah, at that point, unless he's got like a long con to try and get out of everything that's like simmering under the surface. But at that point in time, I highly doubt that they're working that kind of subversive plot.
I kind of wish that there was a remake TV series, because I think the premise of having a man who the government screwed over for healthcare reasons and then uses him is relevant, would play with current audiences.
Yeah, sure would. Put a pin in that idea. Actually, great. we could pull that.
You are being such a fucking cat.
Yeah, she sure is.
She's not allowed to sit on that art tablet.
Yeah. Do you want me to try and move her?
I'm just gonna move the art tablet. God damn it!
No, hey, come on.
She's such an asshole. No, she'll lay right on that.
Okay.
A book?
No, you're right. Lou does the same fucking thing.
I'm gonna refresh my city water, and then we can continue.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Mo, how did you like the Bionic Woman? Terminator. I have not seen Terminator Salvation. Is it worth going back and watching? Because I Jack says no.
I've watched every Terminator movie, and you can pretty much stop after the second
And that's what I've done basically.
Yeah,
So no, I saw 3.
Yeah,
I didn't like 3 very much.
we all did that.
Yeah.
Salvation has some good ideas,
Yeah.
but it's directed by Nick G. What else did Nick G do? They're all bad.
I'm not familiar with the name.
My phone's being used to record you right now.
I mean, that's true.
He's not a good director. He's a very like action.
Salvation's the one with Christian Bale, right? Okay.
They also changed around a bunch of shit last minute. They rewrote the script. It was one of those like disaster film processes.
Gotcha.
Oh, we were just talking about this dude earlier today, but Michael wrote a comic book sequel.
Wait, say that again?
The guy that wrote Rising Star. I don't know how to say his name.
J. Michael Straczynski?
Yes. I'm pretty sure he wrote a miniseries that is a prequel to Salvation that's considered pretty good.
Really?
I felt so, but most people said it was pretty good.
Okay. Neat.
Yeah.
That's something to keep an eye out for then.
It's not, but okay.
Oh, man. Okay, we ready to jump back in?
You betcha.
Welcome back, everybody. So we're, again, talking about the attempts to adapt the $6 Million Man to a feature film, of which there were a handful. So the very first attempt to do this the idea spawned during the filming of Bionic Ever After. Anderson got the idea for a big screen version of the series, mostly because he was seeing all these other shows that had aired around the same time coming up big on the big screen. So you got your Star Treks, you got your Addams Family, your Fugitive, your Mission Impossible, all of those finding box office success, which I didn't realize Mission Impossible was a TV series before it was a Tom Cruise money
It's
machine.
weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a weird thing to think about.
I didn't realize The Fugitive was a series.
I did know that one. I don't know why I knew that one, but I did know that one. And of course, Addams Family is just so fucking good. So the very first attempt, Anderson's friend, producer Jim Jacks, known for The Mummy.
Which one?
I'm pretty sure the Brendan Fraser.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
You're right.
He's all right. Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Somebody IMDb that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Oh, wait. Hold that thought.
We'll burn him.
Sorry, we have a couple more comments from Mo here. He likes the dark elements more. Salvation took that base debate. There's a lot that I'm not understanding about that comment, Mo. I'm sorry.
All Terminator.
Bionic Woman was less serious. So good as a kid. Less stakes than $6 Million Man. Okay. Yeah, I feel like that makes sense for the time. Neat. I appreciate that. Thank you.
There's also a lot of kind of what they did with Buffy and Angel, where there would be like part 1 is Bionic Man, part 2 is Bionic Woman.
Oh, okay. Neat.
Just little facts. Anyway, this mummy guy.
Yeah, so Jim Jacks has offered the first attempt. I'm sorry, let me try that again. Yeah, so Jim Jacks offers the very first attempt for a script to an up-and-coming indie film star, Kevin Smith.
What year was this?
This is 1994. Literally is all happening like alongside Bionic Ever After happening. I think Smith actually like completes a draft of a script in 95.
I was like, I know I'd heard Kevin Smith in relation to this property at some point. I had no idea.
This is why.
What had he just done?
Clerks.
Right? That's all he had done at that point.
Maybe Mallrats.
That's so weird.
Let me double check the date on Mallrats real quick.
Like, I love Clerks, but I would not watch Clerks and think this guy could do the $6 Million Man.
Oh no, Mallrats was 95, so he was like literally working on Mallrats as he was offered this. Yeah, very strange. But I mean, Kevin Smith,
Right.
giant comic book nerd.
Yeah.
This is exactly the kind of thing that he would have a lot of fun with. So he pitches a story to Jackson, Universal exec Nina Jacobson over dinner, and they love it. So they tell him to write up a draft. They tell him to finish it up, polish it up, send it over, and he suffers immediate writer's block. Like it just becomes it takes him so long to write this damn draft. Mostly because like he would get up in the morning and be like, oh, fuck, man, I don't know what the fuck the $6 million man does today. Like, I don't want to save the world with him right now. I can't think of anything. And he just be kind of stuck in a rut for a while. But he eventually broke through. In 1995, he delivers a script. And he decided to 1996, actually, he delivers a script. And he decided to approach it like a comic book. That's what caused him to break through. Right. So we open with a break-in at OSI HQ, during which a bunch of bionics are stolen. Steve Austin crashes and suffers severe damage to his legs, one arm, and his left eye during his last mission before being able to retire and spend his life with his fiancée, Jamie Summers. And this whole section includes a bunch of dialogue from the opening of the original series to then help drive the point home of like what's happening and what's going on and make that connection to the nostalgia. OSI rebuilds Austin, but its ruthless leader, Sage, orders Austin's good arm and eye removed and also replaced with bionics. His skin is also replaced with a substance that allows him to change his appearance at will, both face shape and color.
Okay.
And is also covered in a bulletproof dermal coating.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah. So he's nigh indestructible and also can race bend, which is a weird choice,
right.
Kevin.
Kevin, no. This isn't fact at all, but I'm gonna assume he read the issue of The Punisher where the Punisher becomes black. It was like,
oh no,
nice! What a great idea!
I had no idea that was a thing that happened.
Something happens where the Punisher has to basically throw away his Frank Castle identity, and they're like,
so
the best way to hide you is
so he changes race.
Yeah, it didn't go over well, so they immediately changed it back.
I mean, given. Was Stan Lee still like in charge at this point, or was
probably in like an honorary sense?
Okay, so I feel like if he had actual editorial control at that point, he would have been like, "No, we're not doing that."
Yeah, I can't see him being like.
I mean, he was so staunch about like race issues and whatnot in his like little soapbox things that he would write. I can't see him being okay with that idea.
He might have been in a lawsuit with Marvel at that point.
Oh, that was a thing at a point. Yes.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they don't like to talk about that.
An additional augmentation he's given. Steve Austin is at this point. His brain is augmented to allow for the instant downloading of information from various sources. So he's also got a bit more of a computer up there.
All right. I don't like any of what you're saying.
Yeah, it's weird. It's all very weird. He also kind of did a RoboCop and added a failsafe, which would let OSI deactivate or even reprogram Austin if need be. Spoiler, he's probably going to need be.
Right, yeah.
So Austin is then sent after the bionic thieves. The thief is identified as Clatch, who was the subject of a pre-Austin bionics experiment that drove him bananas and made him want world domination by undead cyborg army. Austin goes to infiltrate Clatch's tropical island lair, but gets caught and learns that Clatch actually plans to hold the whole world hostage with a weapon capable of turning oxygen into carbon. Austin escapes and heads to DC to face off with Clatch, who has taken Jamie Summers prisoner. None of this is played for laughs, by the way. Smith was very adamant that, like, no, this is serious. So this is not going to be comedic at all. Even though he included an actual tropical island lair and named the villain Clatch.
This feels very 90s comics.
So, like I said, it took Smith a long-ass time to actually finish this draft. So long that the Universal executive, Nina Jacobson, that he had originally made a deal with, had been replaced multiple times over until they landed on a guy named Kevin Masher.
Okay.
And he hated everything about this script. So he hated the idea that there was a bionic man before Steve Austin.
That's like the one idea I do like.
Yeah, like I don't hate that idea either, but to him that takes away Steve Austin's quote unquote specialness.
Nah, they did a whoopsie. They had to do a couple of
you don't get that hotness right the first time. Good lord, unless there's a bunch of like bionic chimps running around out there. There have to be a bunch. No, they launched them into space. The moon's a terrible, horrible place to go. You know that the moon's haunted meme? No. Where there's an astronaut with a gun, just like moon's haunted. Just cocks the gun, gets into a spaceship.
This is not a meme I'm aware of.
Oh, you should be. Yeah, this is like the most you meme that exists. Man. Yeah, no, it's not haunted. It's just infested with bionic chimps.
Which is why they went with Steve Austin, because he'd gone to the moon and he kind of was like aware of the whole chimp thing.
Yes.
Now I'm writing comic books like Kevin Smith. I love Kevin Smith.
I love him so much. I Kevin Smith is forever one of my favorite people, but man, just
sometimes he needs to do a second draft.
Or a third, or needs to accidentally run into John Peters so that he's then dissuaded from going further. So of course Masher said to Kevin Smith, this is like a comic book, which Kevin thought was a compliment.
Oh no, Kevin.
Yeah, it was not a compliment. It was absolutely not meant as a compliment. So he was not given a chance to write another draft. But he actually feels pretty happy with what he wrote.
Did he turn into a comic book?
I don't know.
I feel like they might have.
He probably would have tried, I think. Yeah. But he did say regarding this script, I didn't try to push the edges of the envelope technologically, like inventing shit where they had to craft shots. It was really kind of retro in its low-tech approach. So he had like some practical concerns in mind to try and like keep costs down and make it more doable. But he wrote Hollywood, and he wrote what he wrote.
Right.
They didn't like what he wrote. So they scrapped this idea and they decided to go with a whole different approach. So second attempt, Universal wanted to honor their commitment to the project, but they needed to appoint a new team as everyone Smith had been working with was gone, with the exception of Anderson. So he's the only one still kicking. He's the only one from the original show that's still like, no, we have to make this happen.
Do you know if for Kevin's script, do you know if they were originally going to reuse Lee Majors?
No, if I'm not mistaken, Lee Majors was never in consideration to actually play the $6 Million Man in any of these. After he got married, yeah. I think the idea is they were going to go with fresh actors for this.
Gotcha.
With the exception of Anderson, he was going to reprise his role. But that actually that comes up later. So Universal assembles a brand new team to go for the second attempt. We have producer Lawrence Gordon, known for Predator, Field of Dreams, 48 Hours, Die Hard, Event Horizon, the 2009 Watchmen, all of the Hellboy movies, including the most recent one, Boogie Nights, and K-Pax. I actually kind of enjoyed K-Pax. I mean,
it's problematic now.
Yeah, I mean, fuck Kevin Spacey, right. But K-Pax was kind of interesting. The director they choose to bring in is Paul W.S. Anderson, not Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah.
So he was known. He was actually a collaborator with Lawrence Gordon, as they had both worked on Event Horizon, and he was also known for weirdly a bunch of video game adaptations, because he directed Mortal Kombat, he directed Alien vs. Predator, he directed a couple of the Resident Evil films, and the recent Monster Hunter film.
Did he do Blood Rain?
No, that was Uber Bowl.
That's right.
You don't bring that motherfucker up. No.
Listen.
We'll inevitably have to do an episode about him.
I watched that movie for two reasons. Meatloaf.
Oh, that's right. We did talk about the fact that Meatloaf was in that. God damn it.
It was in front of me, and I was like, what is this movie? Meatloaf? Boobies? All right. I hate that I did that.
Yeah, no, that was a trap.
Yeah, it was a trap. The Resident Evil movies are maybe the first one still holds up, but everything after that,
it goes off the rails pretty hard to my recollection. Given I haven't seen anywhere near all of them, but there's far too many of them. No offense to Mila Jovovich, but like, holy shit, there's too many of those movies.
Well, she was married to the director, right? I think that's why they keep cranking them out.
Really?
I think so.
Was it a Melissa McCarthy, Ben Falcone kind of situation? Sure. God damn it.
And that was before I played the game, so I can only imagine I would hate
them
now.
No. Yeah. Don't do that. All right, so for writing, they brought in another Gordon collaborator, Stephen E. D'Souza, known for 48 Hours, Die Hard, Street Fighter, Judge Dredd, The Return of Captain Invisible, Jumpin' Jack Flash, The Spirit, The Running Man, and several episodes from Tales from the Crypt and Knight Rider, as well as Hudson Hawk. And the main reason he was brought in for this, he wrote one of his earliest gigs. He wrote for the $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman.
Okay.
So he's got experience with the franchise. Specifically, he wrote the two-parters. He wrote the two-parter Death Probe and the episode Rollback.
Death Probe's considered one of the better episodes.
Nice. Okay, so he has that. He's got that going for him, which is nice. So D'Souza pitches this dark, twisted, hard sci-fi version of the $6 Million Man. So he wanted a total departure from the original story.
Okay.
Just something the audience has never seen before. He wanted to keep people on their toes, give them something fresh. So he pitched this new take to Gordon and another producer. Sorry, let me try that again. So he pitched this new take to Gordon and another producer at a very particular Italian restaurant.
Okay.
I don't know the name of the restaurant, but he chose this very particular Italian restaurant because of their very particular style of breadstick. I'm going to read an excerpt here from David Hughes.
It's Wario's. We're going to go with Wario's.
It's Wario's.
Right.
Yes, he went to Wario's Family Pizzeria and Pasta Trough.
I was mad at the word pasta trough, and I was like, wait a minute.
Wait, it's Wario. No, that's perfect.
Pasta trough sounds delicious right now.
Actually, it sounds great. I'm so hungry. Okay, so he begins this pitch. It's Cape Canaveral. They launch a mission to this space station that's up there now, bringing a nuclear-powered module that requires incredible finesse to attach that will upgrade the station. So we build up this incredible mission and the critical work of putting this thing together, and our guy is selected for this job. A very gung-ho, retro, extremely militant, flag-waving character so he can be disillusioned later, and we can put him through an incredible emotional ride. He's also the most experienced spacewalker. And because it's so secret, the other people on the crew, a mixture of civilians and scientists, even they don't know what he's doing. Now remember, the audience has been programmed throughout all these years of reruns that he's going to crash when he lands. But he goes out and does the spacewalk to connect the two things, and something goes wrong. This module is hot, and it's moving too fast, and it's going right toward where it's supposed to dock with the space station. And there's a misfire on the rockets to make this thing move, and it's moving too quickly, and it's going to hit the station. But Steve pulls the umbilical. He saves everybody. He saves the station. And he looks up and realizes he's partially between the space station and the module. So the entire time he's speaking and giving this pitch, he's got his hands under the table because he's futzing with breadsticks. He's doing a thing. He makes the breadsticks into the shape of a little man. So he puts it all together in just such a way that it's going to burst apart in a very particular way. So at a crucial moment of the pitch, he brings the figure out to the table, took Anderson's water glass, and smashed it down onto the figure in such a way that it crushed one of its arms and both of its legs. They went, "Oh, unbelievable! That's fantastic!" They all went. Everybody fucking loved it. They loved the presentation. They thought it was an amazing idea. They were like, "Yeah, we're gonna pitch this to Paul, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna make this happen."
I liked the pitch. I was very confused by the breadstick man.
Yeah. I don't know why he needed the breadstick man. Everybody knows what limbs Steve Austin loses. We've
all played Hangman before. We know what a human body.
I mean, also, yes, we've all gone to med school, Jack. We all understand those. Very scientific hangman diagrams.
We didn't go to Waluigi's School of Medicine. It's right beside Wario's.
Yes, Waluigi. Waluigi's family practice and education trough. Yes.
Wow. But hey, I've never sold a movie, so maybe I need more breadstick men.
Fair. Maybe we need to start doing breadstick origami to really make this shit work. God damn it. Oh, Christ. So, anyway, despite everyone being so super wowed with his presentation, 3 days later, the whole idea is scrapped.
Okay.
Yeah, Paul Anderson wanted nothing to do with this. He wanted audience.
He wanted bad ideas.
He felt that the audiences wanted the familiarity of the original story, so everyone was like, "Well, I guess we're doing that."
I don't disagree with him as far as like monies go. I would be more interested in seeing a new interpretation.
It's funny you should mention monies. So, the next film that Paul Anderson had release, as they were starting to work on this project, was Soldier.
With Kurt Russell?
I forget.
I might be getting many movies mixed up.
Well, hold on. Let me fact check that real quick.
I'm not familiar with the filmography of Paul W.S. Anderson.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So all of this is taking place a few years after Smith's failed attempt, and that whole attempt falling apart. So this is around 1998 now. Soldier with Kurt Russell comes out. This movie had a $75 million budget.
That's a lot of
$1
million men.
It's a lot of $1 million men. And Soldier brought in $6.5 million on its opening weekend and ended up only bringing in $15 million overall.
That's not that many.
No, that is several less million men. Oh God. Yeah, so Universal sees this happen and goes, oh, fuck, maybe this guy doesn't know what he's doing. So they drop Paul Anderson and this entire version of the project because they genuinely didn't think that he could make this work.
And that was brilliant on their part. And everybody should have followed.
You'd think so. Yeah. So the project, again, fails, and it sits in limbo for a couple more years. Fast forward to our next attempt. Rumors start to appear in 2000, around April of 2000, that there is actually a version of the $6 Million Man being developed that's a comedy. This does not happen.
Okay, well,
this does not happen, but it's worth noting because the actual collection of people they have working on this is just it feels like a Mad Lib.
Okay.
So
David Lynch.
If only. Mark Frost comes up later, though.
Huh.
Yeah, completely unrelated. So they get the creators of Smallville to write it.
Okay, I don't hate that.
They get the Farrelly brothers to direct it.
I hate that.
I knew you were going to hate that. And Chris Rock to star. And Chris Rock was like pumped. Chris Rock was like, I can't wait to do this. He never got to do this. I don't hate the idea of Chris Rock doing this. I don't like the idea of the Farrelly brothers, especially that era of the Farrelly brothers doing this. No, that sounds horrible. But this obviously never happened. But what did happen was that in 2001, a partnership was struck between Universal and Dimension Films.
Okay.
Now, what do you know about Dimension Films?
You're going to ask that. Man, I can't remember.
The only thing you need to know is that they are headed by Bob Weinstein.
I was like, is that them before Miramax?
No, it is considered. It is Miramax's genre division. Basically,
okay.
That's how it's referred to in Hughes's text. Is that it's the genre division of Miramax.
Okay.
I will note, at no point is Harvey Weinstein mentioned in any of this. Just Bob. So I don't know what kind of shit he got up to, but he's not Harvey.
I've wondered that because Kevin Smith has talked about dealing with the Weinsteins and always said that working with Bob was much nicer than working with Harvey.
I mean, I believe that.
But I also have a hard time thinking that one, they were brothers, and two, they were business partners. How
could he not know anything, right?
Yeah. I have a hard time believing that there's that much satirical portrayal of Weinstein-like characters throughout pop culture, and that his brothers would not put that together. But you're right. He's not Harvey Weinstein.
He's not. That is the very least that I definitively say about Bob Weinstein, is that he's not Harvey Weinstein.
Do we need to say what a Harvey Weinstein is?
I think everyone knows. I think everyone knows that Harvey Weinstein is a fucking sexual predator and ruined a bunch of people's careers and lives.
A producer of films, way too much power in Hollywood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Moving on from that piece of shit. The idea here was that they were going to try to adapt the original book, Cyborg, as part of a rights package that actually included that book and all 3 of its sequels. So they were absolutely thinking like big old franchise with this. They were going to try and jump in and make a splash, because I think at this point you've got X-Men kind of hitting, you've got the Spider-Man films starting to hit pretty good. They're series they're starting to roll.
2000s?
This is early 2000s. Yeah. So they see a goal they think they can achieve with this franchise. And they still have Lawrence Gordon on to produce. So along with a whole slew of Dimension executives. Now, nothing actually came of this for a couple of years. This kind of like simmered in the background for a while until a rumor hit in 2003 that Jim Carrey was interested in playing Steve Austin. And then he was asked about it, and he actually confirmed that yeah, like this was a thing that was like close to happening apparently.
When was Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind?
Eternal Sunshine,
was that 2005?
I want to say that was 2005.
Yeah, so he's like trying to get away from comedy a little bit.
2004.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's at that point where he's starting to think about moving away from comedy, which, I mean, he'd already had the Truman Show at that point, which while comedic still had a lot of like heady ideas and emotional weight.
I don't see him as like an action star though.
No, that's the thing. And you know, that was kind of my take whenever he got cast in Kick-Ass 2. It was like, given there's some comedy to these films, but like, can he pull off action? And he ended up actually being kind of good in that movie, if I remember correctly. It's not as good as the first one, but Jim Carrey was actually surprisingly good in it, if I remember correctly. Anyway, so he was interviewed about this, and he said, I'm going to quote again from Hughes here. We're developing that script, so I think it's just going to be a whole lot of fun. I love playing ego and insecurity combined. Well, it's the same thing, I guess. Ego out of control. But I think it's going to be fun. $6 million doesn't get you a lot in the world these days, so you can kind of imagine where the plot's going to go. I'm very happy about the announcement. Oh, wait, no, sorry. To make this even stranger, Lee Majors thought this was a super fucking good idea. He was actually really into it. He had to say, I'm very happy about the announcement that Jim's going to be playing the $6 million man in that movie. I think he's a great choice. That direct quote in an interview with Sci-Fi Wire.
That sounds like somebody who's an executive producer who's going to get a fat paycheck.
That could very well be the case. But who knows?
Yeah, maybe he was all about it.
Yeah, I mean, you might not be surprised, but this never happened.
I like the idea that Jim, our buddy Jim, says that they're going to keep it at $6 million. Because I always assumed they were going to bump up the price tag.
You'd think so, because there's definitely like an issue there with how much $1 million or $6 million can get you.
I like the idea of like a Dollar General version of the $6 million man, where it's just like
the great value brand. So there were some other reports around this time. Actually, this is where Mark Frost was going to be coming in as a writer.
Mark Frost
of Twin Peaks fame, yes. But guess where he also had one of his earliest gigs writing?
No.
The $6 million man. Yeah, okay. He also did some more. That keeps happening. They keep finding people that like had experience on the original series and keep giving them opportunities that don't go anywhere. Though Frost did specifically mention the inflation issue.
Okay. I thought you were going to say we wanted Bigfoot. And I'm like, that makes sense.
Oh my God, that would make so much sense. Oh man, I need them to do this now. Yeah, no, but he did specifically. What?
Kyle MacLachlan is Bigfoot.
Oh yeah, there's no other choice. Are you kidding me? It's done. So he did cite the inflation factor as being an interesting point to be addressed, mainly in relation to, quote, which parts are replaced at this point. So it's a little bit unclear from that quote whether he's thinking, oh, they need to bump the money up because of inflation, or inflation's going to limit what they're going to be able to replace.
Okay.
So there are a couple of different directions that could have changed the narrative. How do you think they would have went with it?
I'm curious. I was thinking about what's replaced and what would be the least expensive. I feel like the eye is the most likely, the least sci-fi of his body parts replaced.
Yeah. It's depending on how sci-fi bullshitty you get with it.
Because, man, I watched that arm of his fight off a Bigfoot, and it's pretty sci-fi.
Yeah.
I think the legs are the second least sci-fi. It's more for like jumping stuff than like running real fast.
Sure.
It would still look goofy as hell. It would probably look like one of those like robots walking down steps.
Oh my God.
They always look like they're constipated.
Those fucking things. Yeah.
I don't know how they would. Honestly, no tracksuits. Can't afford those.
No, tracksuit would be right out there. I'm thinking just pure sweatpants.
Just yes.
Just sweatpants and a white beater, and that's it.
He's a $6 million man of the people.
$6 million douchebag.
Yeah. Not that foreshadow where we're going, but he could have like a Boston accent.
You've looked at my notes, I see.
What's like the Boston beer?
Samuel Adams.
Sam Adams?
Yeah. That's one of them. I'm sure I just pissed off somebody from Boston.
Listen, we have Iron City.
We got Iron City down here. We can't judge.
It's not...
bunch of yinzer fucks. Anyway, one of the big issues with this, aside from like not being able to come to a consensus on like how to address the inflation issue of the money, is that rights became a big problem. There was a big old rights dispute between Universal and Miramax at this point, which was specifically acknowledged by Anderson at Comic-Con in 2006, which that he stated that that's kind of why this attempt really fell apart. Though it's also interesting to note, part of this rights dispute prevented a US DVD box set from existing.
I hate when that shit happens.
I mean, it exists now. Like at this point in the future, we are blessed to have this holy tome available from Amazon or your outlet of choice. But sorry, I blacked out for a second.
I think there was a similar issue with Twin Peaks, actually.
I'm not surprised. Yeah. There was a UK DVD box set, though.
That's obnoxious.
It's weird. I hate that shit happens.
Yeah. Like you can get the full Kill Bill full cut in like Japan, but not here.
Not here.
I'm blaming the Weinsteins.
I think it's just generally safe to blame them for most things. Yeah. So at that point, like the show's actual cultural footprint in the country that made it was less than it could have been. So I'm sure that was also an issue, is like drumming up actual excitement for it, because you got a bunch of people like us chuckle fucks who were like, what? What? The Venture Brothers? What?
He had sex with a Bigfoot?
He fucked a Bigfoot? He fucking shaved a Bigfoot?
Did they do that? Oh, that was the first time we seen him. Yeah.
Shaved Bigfoot was something he hadn't seen before. So we fall into radio silence again for years, for almost an entire decade at this point, until 2014. A new adaptation gets announced from Dimension under the title The $6 Billion Man. So we're finally addressing the inflation. We're finally bringing this to a more current state. But before we really jump into that, let's take a break.
Yeah. Oh Lord, I don't know how many times I when we were talking about this, accidentally said 6 billion instead of 6 million.
I don't think you did, actually.
Maybe I corrected myself in my head every time.
Could be. Or I'm going to hear a whole bunch of things. I'm like, oh, I missed that.
Right. Not in here.
Mo would not mind comedians being given an opportunity to play a serious role, but it places a lot on the director and actor to find the right comedic balance. That's his case for Chris Rock or Jim Carrey playing Steve Austin. I think either of them could do it. I think it'd be fun. Hi, Antonio.
I think it's less to do with their acting ability and more to do with their build.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Carrey in particular, he's such a tall, lanky motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to have... imagine the tracksuit budget for that guy.
Because you said...
Just...
Because you mentioned his appearance in... what's Fuck 2? Kick-Ass 2.
And Kick-Ass 2,
and
yeah.
They gave him, like, a big body prosthetic, right?
I'm pretty sure he was in, like, a muscle suit of some sort. Yeah, he... either that or he, like, weirdly beefed up for that one.
So I think he has the chops. I absolutely has the chops.
Yeah.
Too
bad we'll never see it happening because Sonic 2 was his last movie.
Later, hater. Like, I want to become. This is my new career. I'm quitting my job today, right now. Fuck you. And I'm becoming a senior actor legacy. Where am I going with this? Senior actor,
legacy manager.
That's the word I want. So that when an actor's about to retire, I tell them yes or no.
Yes. And if you tell them no, you then show them the last scene that they did.
Right.
You were not going out like that.
Sean Connery, Leave Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, no.
No. Jim Carrey.
Obviously, Zardos 2.
Zardos 2. More puke guns.
Did you get back into that red skimpy swimsuit one more time?
No.
Christ.
I was like, how do we fix his flabby old man body? And then I was like, oh, put him in a big red costume. More like a grocery bag for his entire body.
Sean Connery, very late in life, finding that he has a latex fetish.
No hate for King.
But... No hate for King. Just Sean Connery jokes.
I actually don't think that Jim Carrey's last line is the worst for who he is.
That's fair.
I think he probably could have done better, but he absolutely could have done League of Extraordinary Gentlemen too.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. We need to do a second unit on
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
No.
On Sonic the Hedgehog?
Absolutely not. Well, maybe Sonic, but not League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Okay. Because of all the racism?
I was going to say because I'd have to read the book and it's all reeky.
It is that, yes. I've read one of the trade paperbacks.
God damn it, Alan Moore.
Yeah.
Like, I want to read more of your stuff, but you got a couple things to really lean on.
It's real fucking gross.
Like, his Lovecraftian stories have come back into publishing, but I know that they're bad.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, like, fish on human relations. Which is the summary for
I'm pretty sure
out of Innsmouth.
I'm pretty sure that was the elevator pitch that he made.
That basically explains the Lovecraft original story, Shadow out of Innsmouth.
Yeah.
Fish human relations.
Yeah. How did we get here?
No. I'm gonna go pee.
All right, go.
Really think about my life.
Think about your life. Think about your choices.
Do you want some more city water?
Yes, I would love some more city water. Thank you. How's everyone doing on Instagram? Yeah, Antonio, I know it's weird seeing me on this feed, but we're since we're doing a second unit, we thought we'd try something a little different.
Saying my mom had a smooth forehead.
What?
Antonio. On Facebook. He spoke to me on Klingon.
Oh, is that what he said in Klingon?
Yeah.
I didn't see the translation.
Yeah, he said I looked at his forehead.
That is the deepest of Klingon insults, sir. I know you've never heard of that band. I just saw them live last night. It was quite good. That's where I got the shirt. Oh, God. Mo, I'm not surprised, honestly. Yeah, they were really vocal about how much they fucking love Pittsburgh and like how much time they've spent around here and how they have like personal ties to the area. So I'm really not surprised that there's some origin ties to their music from here. That's really cool. Fucking Zoloft the Rock and Roll Destroyer. I've seen them. Oh my God, that's amazing. Holy shit, I haven't thought about that band in forever. That's so good. Oh, New Jersey in particular. Okay, I guess that makes more sense considering, yeah, what part of New York they're from. Yeah, I was just happy to see a band that's been around for that damn long just still pumping out new great material. New podcast idea. The last role we cast actors we love before we throw them to the lions, saving them from themselves.
I was in Say Volcano.
I honestly, as I was reading it, I was expecting the word volcano, but no, throwing them directly to the lions.
Who was making that pitch?
Oh, that's Antonio.
I'm not against it.
I'm also not against it. I think that'd be fun.
But I do want to go through, look at actors who've retired in their last film.
Yeah.
And just kind of say, you did good. Or,
what the fuck?
Maybe just one more. God.
Come on, even if the payday was right, come on, man.
I think there's a Cracked article that pretty much does exactly what
honestly, I feel like you literally just like the idea that you just pitched is it has to be a Cracked article. Charlton Heston had the best last role, Mo says. What was his last role?
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
I was a big fan of
Burton Planet of the Apes with the gun at his bedside. I had no fucking idea. That's wild. As I haven't seen Burton's Planet of the Apes now that I think about it.
I think that's one of the handful of Burton films I've not watched. Because speaking of Marky Mark.
Wait, what?
Marky Mark's the lead in it, I think, right?
In that Planet of the... Oh, shit. I forgot about that. Yeah. Good Lord.
That's also where he met Helena Bonham Carter as an ape woman. He was like, I want to fuck that ape woman. I'm going to leave my supermodel wife.
Feels like a thing Tim Burton would think.
Oh, God.
All right, are we ready to jump back in?
Yeah, let's do it before I think about that image anymore. There's no lips. They didn't build lips in that costume.
Welcome back, everybody. So we're finally getting to the modern era here. We're finally getting to the $6 billion man adaptation of this franchise. 2014, this was originally pitched to be directed by Peter Berg and starring Mark Wahlberg.
Do I know Peter Berg from something?
They both collaborated together on the film Lone Survivor. Aside from that, I'm not entirely sure of Berg's filmography. I didn't look into him as deeply as I did the other folks.
Before we get too deep into Marky Mark,
sure.
I should probably come out and say that I'm not a big fan of his work and have not, therefore, watched pretty much any of his movies except for The Departed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the least surprising thing that you've told me in about 5 years. Just,
I do know that he got into a fight and permanently blinded a man.
Was this the hate crime that he committed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because he permanently blinded an Asian gentleman.
Yeah.
For no good reason, certainly.
Right.
Yeah.
He did play a really good asshole in The Departed.
Everybody played a good asshole in The Departed. Everybody's a fucking asshole in The Departed.
That one therapist was fine.
The one therapist was fine. Yeah.
Everyone else
is a colossal asshole.
I want to watch The Departed.
I know. God damn it. So the goal for this film was to get a 2016 release, but it had to contend with Wahlberg's schedule, much as we talked about with some of the Amory Wars stuff last episode.
Right.
So at this point, he was also slated to shoot Daddy's Home and Deepwater Horizon.
Yeah, I don't want to miss out on those films.
No, super important major cinematic achievements. Those ones there
too.
And happening. He was also supposed to be in the TV series Shooter, which was coming out around that time. As far as I can tell, he is not actually in this fucking show, or at the very least, if he is, he's not credited.
Huh.
Yet, an interview that I read, an article that I read about some things we're going to get into later, cited him as being an actor in the show, even though this article came out in like 2019. And I'm extremely confused because it's, as by all record that I can see, it doesn't seem like he was actually a part of this goddamn series.
Maybe they did like a Adrian Brody Thin Red Line, where they just recorded all of this shit and then cut it all.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's what we got with. They're like, we made a huge
mistake
casting Marky Mark.
Oof. So for Mark Wahlberg, this was his superhero project, or his answer to superhero projects, let's say, because he's one of the few like big name actors who hasn't made an appearance in either the MCU or the DCEU. And yeah, I'm good with that. Though we're going to get into a weird MCU tie later.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's not been involved in any of these series. The closest he's gotten to doing an actual superhero,
he would be okay. Not great, but he would make a decent Guy Gardner, the shitty asshole Green Lantern.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that working. But it's not going to happen. So, yeah, he voiced a superhero in the movie Scoob, if I'm not mistaken. I forget the character's name, but like, yeah, not important. Not the Scooby is the focus of Scoob.
One would hope.
That'd be really fucking weird if he wasn't, right? I haven't seen it, but what if it's just strictly a Fred movie?
You know what?
Like a purely Fred, just a vehicle for Fred to make and obsess over traps.
Listen, I'm going to stop you right now.
Okay.
We are on dangerous footing where I will go into a Scooby-Doo rant for hours. So
we have to save that for the episode where we bring my friend Trish on, because yeah.
So I'm just gonna put that back in the box.
Okay.
Put that down there.
Yeah.
Say Scoob Marky Mark, huh?
Scoob Marky Mark, huh? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so even though there was some excitement behind this, there was some momentum at the studio behind this, we start hitting roadblocks a year in. So November 2015, it's announced that Peter Berg is going to be replaced by Damien Zifron, and they push the goal of the release back to 2017. In December of that year, the Weinstein Company sells the rights of the film to Warner Brothers. So now we have our Warner Brothers rights connection there. Okay. Though that still does not answer our question regarding the Venture Brothers' use of OSI, because that was way fucking before 2017. Yeah. Nobody must have given a shit. But there were continued changes in personnel and another pushback of the release date related to this. At this point, Zifron is then replaced by Travis Knight and Bill Dubuque as writers and directors. And this is in 2019 that this change is made. And the last release date change that gets made is to push it back to June 5th, 2020. So
that's the release date.
That's the release date that they're going for. There was an utter tragedy that took place that bumped it out of that slot. Can you think of what that was in 2020?
2020. There was this time in 2020 when I went to get a banh mi sandwich at this like sweet Vietnamese place, and I didn't understand the menu very well.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, oh yeah,
Was
just
it-
make it like
Was
the
it,
way
was it banh mi and tea?
it could be. Probably
Place is pretty good.
on Butler.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, nothing bad with their service. They were great.
Yeah.
I just am an idiot and didn't read the menu very closely. And I was like, yeah, all those meat things sound good to me. I'm not a big meat eater to begin with. And then I took a bite into it and realized that was brain. And that was pretty bad for me. I was pretty upset.
So this is a more wide-ranging tragedy that took place, or incident that took place.
No, that was pretty much it. I did give it to our friend Steve though, and he loved it.
Oh,
yeah.
No, that tracks.
Not a big. What was it? Tripe? Is that what it's called?
Tripe?
Yeah.
No, that's like sheep's stomach.
Oh no, that's not what it was.
You're thinking like sweetmeats?
It was brain. It was brain.
Yeah, sweetmeats.
Stop saying that. I'm going back to the pasta trough. I'm safe there.
It is always safe at Wario's Family Pasta Trough.
Just don't go next door for anything.
Don't go next door for anything, especially
Tylenol or an ice pack.
That's it. You don't want to go for actual surgery. Waluigi's not licensed for this.
He does fuck though.
Oh God, does he fuck?
So no, 2020, nothing.
All right, so I was trying to bait you into thinking I was talking about COVID, because what I'm actually talking about is the release of Wonder Woman 1984. That's what got moved into that release date slot, was Wonder Woman 1984.
And that they were like, oh, these two properties are too similar. We can't possibly have.
No, I think they were just prioritizing the superhero film over Marky Mark's $6 billion.
They're both Warner Brothers.
They're both Warner Brothers. Yeah, so they're like, no, we're going to allocate the resources to Patty Jenkins writing this piece of shit, or directing this piece of shit over here, and thus $6 billion Man has not happened.
This is the only occasion in which I'm glad Wonder Woman 1984 was made.
I'm still not.
It's a really bad movie.
It's a really bad movie, and it's really fucking problematic in a number of ways.
I was screaming the whole time, so I didn't hear most of it.
Yeah. I mean, there's the whole like, hey, I've taken over your body for a reason. I'm conscious and driving your body. I'm going to have sex with this person with your body that takes place in there. There was that. That was a thing that happened. Thanks for that, Warner Brothers. I'm glad the Snyderverse is dead. In the time since this has all happened, Wahlberg's been quoted as saying that he does not see the project happening unless he finances it himself, which he is not interested in doing. So that then also answers our Amory Wars question about whether or not the money would be there. Because if he was not willing to fund this, there's no fucking way he was going to fund the Amory Wars by himself either. So we have a little bit of closure on that front as well.
Like dark space opera. So
that really is where we are at this point. Like that wraps up everything regarding just the $6 million man itself, or the $6 billion man. There's no updates. Everything's just kind of left out in the ether at this point. And I'm not sure personally if there's the excitement to really go back and revisit it. It's been delayed for over 20 years at this point.
I don't think that you'd have to reinvent it for audiences at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think you could, because much like with The Fugitive, I don't know that there was I think there was, the audience that was aware of it being a TV series prior to the Harrison Ford movie coming out.
Yeah.
But the movie The Fugitive in and of itself was interesting and good enough that you didn't need to know anything about the previous series.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do a $6 million man or $6 billion man, you'd need to make it basically pretend like you were making it in a vacuum.
Yeah.
While keeping in mind that there are going to be people that do remember the original series and are going to come to it hoping for that nostalgia. Frankly, I think they should bring back Breadstick Man, because I thought his pitch was actually pretty good.
I thought that pitch was cool too. I like the idea of a darker, more twisty turny kind of hard sci-fi narrative that begins with that kind of tragedy that he averts there. And also, the whole idea of having like this, like jingoistic flag waving guy get completely disillusioned and brought low sounds particularly satisfying in our current climate.
So before I knew anything about the $6 Million Man, I kind of like mishmashed the Venture Brothers version together with like my memory of it, and I assumed that he was on the run, which was interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
And what I like about the pitch is that it immediately makes him a hero, whereas in the original it's like his ship was tampered with. I don't think we learned that in the pilot though.
I was not aware of that.
I mean, he doesn't learn it. We do as an audience.
Sure.
It's pretty implied.
Okay.
So I think this property could work. You just need to have it in like really good hands. And I don't know that a studio is going to care enough to take that leap. They're going to see, IP, let's make money off of this IP. And they're going to make a shitty nostalgia film.
I mean, they didn't, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't include any $6 Million Man iconography in the background of anything in Space Jam 2. So I guess that tells you how much. I mean, hey, maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, and there is actually a Steve Austin or Jamie Summers hiding in the background of all that hell that is Space Jam 2, let me know so that I have another reason to be mad at this fucking movie.
No, they had to make room for the nuns from the devil.
Oh, right. My bad.
A reference that every child understood.
Every child totally gets that one. Yeah.
Except for that one child who actually did get it, and I'm like, you are really cool. Your parents are awful. You're gonna be sweet.
You're gonna be deeply troubled.
But
super interesting. Good company. So while that wraps things up really for the $6 Million Man, it doesn't wrap things up for me with Mark Wahlberg.
Okay.
So this is the second time that we've done one of these.
Yes.
And it's also the second time that we've run into Mark Wahlberg.
Uh-huh.
And given that in and of itself doesn't sound like it's that weird. I mean, he was the highest paid actor in 2017. Okay. He is a very prominent and prolific actor.
What the fuck did he do in 2017? He got money for?
Well, a bunch of shit, apparently. Okay. He also does a ton of producing work as well. So like he's bringing in money that way too. But it still feels weird that we're running into him this frequently already, right?
Right.
2 for 2. Come on now.
And I hate that you're leading somewhere with this. I can smell it.
Well, I might not be leading where you think I'm leading, because I alluded during our guest spot on the Moose Lounge that I may have learned something about Mark Wahlberg, and I didn't want to say more at that point because I stumbled on this idea on like kind of shaky foundations, because it was like a headline of a clickbait article.
Sure, right.
And the clickbait article was suggesting that Mark Wahlberg was looking to retire and focus exclusively on faith-based endeavors. Now, it is no secret that Mark Wahlberg is a devout Catholic. He has been his entire life. He's extremely into that whole practice.
Especially that time he
committed that hate crime. Right. But he like reads the Bible or goes to mass, like one or the other, every single day, apparently. So he says. I will say in his favor, at least he does publicly say that he refuses to force his ideas on his children.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's nice. I'm glad. I'm hoping that that's actually accurate.
Right.
But the reason this all actually came to even to reach clickbait proportions was because he said something along those lines in the during promotion of one of his more recent films, Father Stu. It's a movie where he plays an ex-boxer turned pastor who goes on to like inspire a bunch of people. Yeah, I I don't know a whole lot beyond that about this movie, with the exception that Mel Gibson's also in it.
Okay.
Yeah. So in interviews for this, he's basically said that he's considering retiring sooner rather than later because he wants to spend more time with his family. That's the thing that he's found he really cares the most about, and it's getting harder and harder for him to spend prolonged periods of time away from his family, which
Makes sense.
fair, I get that. But he specifically says that it would have to be more roles like Father Stu. And he says in the interview, maybe not specifically faith-based, but substantive, like something that has the potential to help other people.
Okay.
Given his devout belief, I'm not entirely sure what he means outside of faith-based at that point.
Right.
And
you can have a religiously leaning film that is not specifically faith-based.
True.
I think that Silence, a Scorsese film, is very Scorsese is very Christian.
Yeah.
Very, very Christian.
Oh yeah. No, he's pretty open about that.
And you see that in the film. Me as an atheist, I had no problem watching the film and enjoying it because it's these two characters. It didn't feel like a faith-based film where I'm like, you are preaching to me.
Sure.
It's these two characters that are fighting with being Christian, I think Jesuit priests in feudal Japan.
Oh.
It is gorgeous. I think it's a crime that's not talked about more. And the reason it's called Silent is because so much of the movie is, but the violence is, there's like a scene where one of the torture methods for one of the people that said they're Christian during feudal Japan era, which was illegal, is just tied up on a stake by the ocean.
Oh
just
God!
Allowed to have the ocean
just take him. Holy shit!
Yeah, it's weird because like before I saw it in theaters, not our Scott, but Pirate Scott. That's what Belinda calls Scott from New York.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because he has gorgeous pirate hair.
That's true.
Kind of an Earl Flynn mustache.
Yeah.
We were both like kind of on the verge of a panic attack going in to watch it, and just the like sound design of the film dropped mine out. I was like, I haven't been this calm in forever. Pirate Scott, however.
Oh no.
It's like the carnage, the torture. I'm like, nah, calmed me down pretty well, actually. Anyway, it if you could have done that exact same film as a faith-based film, and I would be like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. But you could also do it as like just a movie for the people, and you can interpret it however you want, and have it still be beneficial with your Christian beliefs.
Okay.
Anyway, Marky Mark.
The one thing that kind of like makes me look a little side-eyed at Marky Mark in all of this is that Father Stu is not his first collaboration with Mel Gibson in recent times.
He's also not problematic in any way.
Oh, I mean, except in a bunch of ways. So the first time that they worked together, at least as far as I'm aware, was Daddy's Home 2. It came out in 2017.
Uh-huh.
So for me, the question regarding Wahlberg is how long has his faith been impacting his filmmaking choices?
I was going to ask that.
And what role is Mel Gibson playing in that? And how does the remainder of his career play out from here?
Here's my suggestion. There was a time when Mel Gibson was canceled.
Yes.
And people really liked him. Moms really liked him.
My mom really likes him.
My mom really likes him.
Yeah.
And they didn't want him to go away.
Yeah.
So they were like, we can just make a couple comeback movies. They're like little indie, and you can sneak back in. And there's one where he talks with a beaver.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, that's immediately where my head went to.
Don't know what it's called. Never watched it. Have no idea if it's any good. I suggest that Marky Mark has been dead for years. And that Mel Gibson is working him like a beaver puppet.
Ew. I'm searching Mel Gibson Beaver. That feels like a mistake, right?
Yeah, it's not great.
Well, I think my internet connectivity has killed itself.
It's like, I won't do it.
You can't make me.
The more baffling thing about that movie is that Jodie Foster's in it.
In the Beaver movie?
I believe so.
Oh my god, that doesn't seem right.
No, it doesn't. They tricked her, I think.
Oh no, it's just called The Beaver.
Huh.
It's literally just called The Beaver. My god. Free to watch now on Tubi.
Oh, good. What's the IMDb score? Does it say?
6.6.
Not bad for a Beaver puppy.
62% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Man, moms really want to bone that.
Yeah, it's absurd. It's anti-Semitism just isn't a fucking problem for some moms. It's weird. I should say that is a problem for my mom. I'm just going to say that up front.
Right. Yeah.
So if Mark Wahlberg's not dead and being puppeteered by Mel Gibson, he actually does have some other secular films that are coming out. He's just about to release a comedy called Me Time, where he's co-starring with Kevin Hart.
Masturbating?
I don't know. With that title, it really does suggest it, but I don't know if his faith is getting that up in his decision making.
He's talking. Was it Chris Hart? Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart
out of masturbating.
Oh, so he's playing Kellogg.
He's playing Kellogg.
There we go. You have to eat these cornflakes, Kevin Hart, so you stop touching yourself constantly.
You're saying Me Time too happy. It's like Me Time.
That would be it.
Right.
Yep.
I'm
Absolutely.
Sorry,
brought to you by Michael Bay. There's another film coming out called Our Man from Jersey, which I have no idea what that's about. And then this last one is called Arthur the King. Just hearing the title, I want you to tell me what this movie's about.
If I didn't know Marky Mark was involved, my answer would be very different.
Okay.
Arthur the King, I would assume it would be a Ridley Scott film about knights doing boring shit for
sure
3 hours.
Yeah.
Only to have a 4-hour cut released several years later.
And it still wouldn't be anywhere near as interesting as The Green Knight.
Oh my god. You want to watch The Green Knight?
Yeah.
About Arthur Lion Face. I don't like Arthurian legends.
No, I know you did. Yeah, I was gonna say Lion Face. What?
What's his name?
Richard the Lionheart.
Whatever. Wait. Which one's Arthur?
Not that one.
Arthur the Sunshine Drunk.
Yeah, sure. Arthur the Sunshine Drunk. Now appearing weekly at Wario's Family Pasta Trough.
It was really confusing because he's actually got like a sombrero and does. What am I thinking?
He does mariachi?
Yeah, he's a mariachi.
Oh my god.
Arthur the Sunshine Drunk.
Oh, Christ.
I was thinking of Monty Python Holy Grail.
Oh, okay. There we go.
I'm done talking.
Okay, what I'm about to say is not going to be smarter. Okay. So Arthur the King is not at all a King Arthur related story. It is an adaptation of the book Arthur, the Dog Who Crossed the Jungle to Find a Home, written by Mikhail Lindnord, and also starring Simu Liu.
Help me out.
He is a Shang-Chi.
Oh,
in the MCU. Yeah, he's the star of Shang-Chi in The Legend of the Ten Rings. Yeah. I told you there's going to be an MCU tie-in, and there it was.
I am so confused.
Me too.
Is it live action?
I have no idea. I know nothing about this. I don't think there's any.
Who's a dog who's traveling across the jungle to get to the.
It's supposed to be an. Oh no! Don't go there. No, don't take the dog there. No, it is. To my understanding, it's an action adventure film. So it's going to be some kind of exciting romp for excited children. I'm sure. Maybe I have no idea. Maybe
is she aware of his previous hate crimes?
I don't see how he couldn't be.
You know what? This is getting too uncomfortable.
A little bit. Yep. And actually, that's it. That's everything. That's everything that I've got at this point. Unless we get some more thoroughly definitive answers regarding Mark Wahlberg's thought processes and whatnot. that's all I have for this particular dive into development hell.
This movie is not as dead as I would like it to be.
That's the thing.
It's zombie dead.
It's zombie dead. Like it is.
Somebody
it's
shot
shambling.
It was dead.
It's shambling on.
Did not get shot in the head.
It's shambling on the Warner Brothers lot somewhere.
Yeah.
But no one can really get a hold of it or put it down.
They've just kind of like put it in a closet with some boxes in front of it, and they're like wrote, "Don't go in here.
Don't open dead inside." Just...
Don't get open inside.
Yes, thank you. Oh, God damn it.
I don't think this movie is impossible to make well. You just have to get the right people involved. And it's weird that they brought in so many voices from the original show, and it still
didn't happen. That's one of the biggest things that's surprising to me, is there was so much like knowledgeable, passionate input going in at various points, and it just didn't amount to anything.
They need a Ty West of 70s television.
Sorry, Mo has a comment here saying that Mel Gibson has a cash out plan in Machete in Space. So I'm not surprised.
No. So Ty West is a big fan of like 70s horror.
Yeah.
And that shows in a lot of his work. It's still modern, but the aesthetic is still there. The respect for those genres are still there. He does like a demon movie, kind of like Rosemary's Baby.
Okay.
He does kind of a Cannibal Holocaust type dealy do, and then his most recent one is very like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay,
that's X.
Oh, that's okay. I knew I recognized that name. Okay.
Yeah, I have not watched a movie of his and not enjoyed it. There is a movie he's disowned that was like a sequel to a movie. It was like when he was first getting started.
What's the movie?
It's like I can't remember. It's maybe it's a 2. It's a like
sure
House of the Dead Babies 2.
Waluigi's Dead Baby House 2.
House 2, which is not an impossible thing to imagine. But somebody who has that respect of like 70s television, kind of that nostalgia with like a little bit of tongue in cheek, who can also kind of put a modern twist on it for modern audiences. Because you could watch X and you could have never seen Texas Chainsaw or any of those 70s horror films and still enjoy it.
Yeah. It's interesting that you should say that, because there was I forgot to touch on this at the time, but one of the various writers or directors that we were covering for one of those various attempts had also adapted Starsky and Hutch.
Okay, I've not watched anything with Starsky.
Well, I mean, the film version of it that came out, which I think was Ben Stiller and
was it Owen Wilson?
It might have been Owen. Yeah, I think it was Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson. It was obviously a comedy,
right.
And the show was more of like like a buddy cop thing, like not comedic, but like crime driven, right. Drama, action driven. If I'm not mistaken.
See, kind of what Mo was saying earlier. $6 Million Man was more serious, whereas Bionic Woman wasn't. I could see them turning Bionic Woman more comedic. Not quite like a Brady Bunch movie.
Yeah. Kind of like what Marvel's trying to do with She-Hulk right now.
Yeah. I think you could tell there's so many different things you could do with the Bionic Man movie, with like disabilities.
Yeah.
You could do things with like government issues, insurance issues. I'm not saying you need to turn this into like a socialist film, but there's a lot you could.
But maybe they should.
There's a lot of great 70s movies, like spy thrillers, like All the President's Men.
Yeah.
I think Parallax View, a bunch of that shit. Even Marathon Man, that has a lot of conspiracy and distrust of government, because LBJ and Nixon, that was that era.
Yeah.
That I think would work well with this character. What I'm saying is, give it to me. Give it to me. I can do it.
Just so
I've watched 4 episodes.
Give us $6 billion man.
Yeah.
Give us the stinkers.
Yeah.
Just give us all the things. We'll make it work. Just watch.
There will be a Knifebreaker in-universe porno directed by Brian Bukkake called The $6 Man. He's got a bionic wiener. It's just rubber band. He just bought a bag of rubber bands for like $6, and
that's not going to end well for anybody. That is precisely the kind of porn that would exist in the Knifebreaker universe.
It is. It was also Brian Bukkake's last film.
That explains a lot, actually. Oh, that's why he's out of the game. It fell off because of all the rubber bands. Yeah, couldn't do the Bukkake anymore.
This is a weird running game.
Yep, it really is. Especially considering most of it was not on mic.
That's a special treat for those of you who tuned in early.
It wasn't on live either, Jack.
That was on Instagram. I think it was just Becca. Becca was on.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. That did happen.
And maybe her
And maybe her parents.
parents.
Oh God. Anyway, well, thank you everybody for checking us out here tonight. I hope you enjoyed this installment of Development Hell with the second unit. If you have not already, please rate and review and share the show as widely as possible. I want to thank. I'm blanking on the name that I had. Oh, I want to thank Josh from the Talking Smack podcast for rating our last couple of episodes 5 stars on Good Pod. So thank you very much for that. Check them out. Their show's a lot of fun. And if you're not following us on social media, you can find us on Twitter at DeRazzled Pod, on Facebook at DeRazzled Podcast, on Instagram at DeRazzled_podcast, and on TikTok at Dullboy_Jack.
Yarp.
Yes.
And as of today, day of recording,
yes,
we have
merch.
We have 3 fantastic designs. Bleach, Community Pervert, and Classic.
The sweet DeRazzled logo you've all come to know and love. There are more designs in the works. There's some stuff that we had immediately demanded upon jokes hitting in certain episodes that we are working on. We're trying.
Just 2 of us.
We've got a lot going on here, and to be honest, Jack is doing the designing himself. So I'm
having a lot of fun, but capitalism is crushing my soul.
Also, yes.
My hands.
Yeah, also, yes. But yeah, check all that stuff out. There's a lot of really cool stuff on there for not bad prices, honestly. It's I think it's
if you've used Redbubble before, first of all, there's a lot of discount codes.
That's true.
We'll probably put out a little baby code at some point.
Yeah.
But it has more shit than you could ever want. Just the weirdest things that I didn't know I wanted our logo on.
If anybody gets that weird fucked up backpack, please take a picture of you wearing it so that we can share it. I don't know what happened with that, but it's great.
It's like, I imagine the people who love really ugly pets would be attracted to this. They're like, it's so ugly, it's cute.
Yes.
Also, the DeRazzled shower curtain.
The shower curtain is pretty hilarious. The mini skirt is still the best thing on there. Like, it actually looks cool. Works.
I don't think I have the hips for it, but I might.
I definitely don't have the hips for it.
Yeah, I honestly, I think most of the purchase is just going to be bought by us. But you can have some too if you want.
Yeah, please do.
It's on our website, DeRazzled.com, or we're going to post it everywhere.
Yeah, the Redbubble link is currently in our Twitter feed as well, and I'll be adding that to our link tree so that it is easily accessible.
August is honestly kind of a really big month for us. We have a lot coming up.
We have a lot.
This episode, obviously.
We also just dropped Mommy Dearest as of the same day as this recording.
I feel like it's one of our better episodes.
It's one of my favorites that we've done. My partner Becca came on and guested on that, and she was fucking great. Please check that episode out. It's so good.
It was intelligent and dumb. Both of my favorite things.
It was intelligent, dumb, and nuanced, which is in all in equal balance, and it's astounding.
Then we have 2 requested episodes coming up.
We have 2 requested episodes coming up. So the next, partially due to Jack's death by capitalism that's taking place. As he's looking for a new job, we're going to go a little bit easier on ourselves, and we're going to jump into The Room for our next episode.
Which I know nothing about.
Which Jack's going in as blind as humanly possible, and it makes me so fucking happy. We'll have a couple of special guests to come on for that one as well, and then after
football.
There is a football. And then after that, we'll be jumping back into development hell with Superman Lives.
Yes.
And yeah, that's going to take us into September, which at that point will have been available for your ears for an entire fucking year.
I'm sorry.
We're both deeply sorry, and we love you all very much. Thank you so much for checking us out here.
Thank you for letting us
razzle dazzle you.
I really want a pasta trough. I really want this pasta trough to happen, but I'm not sure if the sauce is in it already, or if you have like a cup, like a mug of sauce.
Oh my gosh!
So you're just like eating the pasta out of the trough, and then you take a little sippy sip of sauce. Maybe you have one that's like red sauce, and one that's like an Alfredo. I think the meat. If you have like meat products, it's in the trough already.
Oh man, I missed some comments on the actual stream because I had my notes pulled up the entire time.
Right.
Matt Stoyanoff jumped in and he had commented.
That sounds like Mega Man.
It does. That plot did sound a lot like Mega Man. It did, and it sounds like it's like Face Off except with race. We'll call it Race Off. Thanks, Kevin Smith, for allowing that thought to exist. Oh God! Do we have anything else going on here in Instagram world? Let's see. Warner Brothers has no need for it unless they have a director like Villeneuve. Yeah.
I didn't consider somebody like that. That would be really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I still haven't seen Blade Runner 2049, so I don't know. Like, I'm not entirely sure how he handled that. I mean, the trailers for it looked gorgeous and everything.
It is, well, it's
who was the cinematographer on that?
It's like on the tip of my tongue.
Is it? Deakins?
Like,
okay.
It was Darkins. Like,
it's not Darkins.
Deakins, thank you.
And then
Roger Darkins.
Yeah, so he's just suggesting, like Villeneuve as a possible.
I haven't seen Dune yet.
You still haven't seen? Oh my God, dude!
I haven't had 4 hours of time to sit down and watch
is it not on HBO Max anymore?
I think it is. I just haven't had the time to sit down and watch a movie that's of that length.
I mean, that's fair. God, it's so good.
But he handled Blade Runner really well.
I'm really pumped for Dune Part 2. I can't fucking wait for that.
Is it a 3-parter or is it just?
It's just 2. It's just going to be a 2-parter.
Another series I know nothing about.
I've read the first book, and I've listened to Henry Zabrowski yammer on about it. Okay, yeah, no, it is still on HBO Max. Okay.
Maybe I'll do that tomorrow.
I also noticed a comment in there when Antonio had to leave. He said, "Bye, guys. Have fun being mediocre at best."
Oh. We're always mediocre.
We're always mediocre at best, sir.
We don't have to try.
No, that comes naturally.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to shut down the stream here. Mo, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I appreciate all the input and everything here. You have a good night.
Matt, if you're still out there in Streamland, thank you for your comments. Sorry we missed them.
Yeah, I'm so sorry I missed your comments there. You always have such good
Mega Man. What if they did like a crossover?
Mega Man.